Welcome guys back to Live in Tokyo podcast. This is the unplugged edition. We're actually outside the house for once. We're in Shimokitazawa. I got my friend here. This is Daniel Wilson, comedian. He's been doing comedy for, man, how long have you been doing comedy in Japan?
Like 72 years now.
You're an old man. Dude, you're also...
Japanese food keeps you looking young, you know?
Since you're a comedian though, I had to ask you, do you have one ippatsu gyagu you can do in Japanese?
Damn! Let me show you my gyagu then. American gyagu, chef. 今日はパンの作り方教えます。まずは小麦粉にお水入れて、こねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねこねチカッとシュー。
これはうまいな。
Oh no, the reaction was exactly the same as when I do it on stage too. Really quiet.
Basically, today's topics are going to be what it's like to work in the Japanese comedian industry.
Okay.
You left the industry, so we're going to talk about why you quit and what's going on in Japanese TV and things like that. And wanted to talk about the cultural differences between Japanese and American comedy. Daniel is also half Japanese.
Yeah, when my Japanese mom married my American father, they thought, you know, they were going to make a beautiful light-skinned hafu, but instead they just got a Mexican.
Half Japanese people do get mistaken as Mexicans a lot.
Yo, if they wear like the cholo shades, those square like rectangle shades, and they wear like bandana, like the otakus dress like cholos. And if they wear shades, they look like Mexicans.
Let's start walking though.
All right, you lead the way, man, you know.
You also did some comedy in Shimokitazawa, right?
Yeah, actually, right above this peacock, there's this hood little like small stage where a lot of young comedians perform. I've been in there a few times. Down this road, it's called like Minerva, shout out to them down there, but.
So let's talk about a little bit about your start in Watanabe Entertainment. Cause you're from New York originally?
Close. Phoenix.
Wait, you
can set that up again if you want.
How did I get this so wrong?
Geographically, you couldn't be any more wrong, but you said it with so much confidence that I almost thought I was from New York.
Dude, I thought you were straight up from... Wait, is your dad... Is he Puerto Rican?
Hold on, I think you looked up information on someone else, because so far all the facts have been wrong, bro. Born and raised New York. My dad is Puerto Rican, and but no, seriously, Phoenix, Arizona. And my dad is kind of Mexican and white, I would say. Native American too, yeah.
You grew up there. Did you go straight from high school to Japan?
Oh no, I graduated college in America, and then I moved out. I worked like a year or two, and then I moved out to Tokyo for my first time coming to Tokyo when I was like 24, 25.
And you went straight in like, I want to try to be a comedian.
Straight in.
Why, were you already like doing stuff in America?
Not comedy-wise. I wasn't doing stand-up over there or anything.
So how did you fall into Watanabe Entertainment in Japan? Because this is like one of the biggest, there's two really big ones, right?
Yeah.
Watanabe
and
Yoshimoto,
yeah, those are the two, like, I mean, there's a bunch, but those two are like powerhouse entertainment agencies out here. I perform here too, Honda Gekijo. Yeah, it's that little, this is like a bigger show place. Right here is how you go in. Honda Gekijo is what it's called.
Well, how much do you have to pay to get in?
I don't know, like 4,000 yen. So with the exchange rate, probably like $5.
Hey, this is the Brooklyn Roasting Company. Not sponsored, by the way.
I mean, yo, what are you trying to throw in a little commercial, trying to get a new sponsor?
Yeah, like me.
That's dirty, Max.
So I wanted to get a coffee in here, but I wanted you to finish your talk about the Watanabe Entertainment, right?
Uh-huh.
Can you go into like a little bit of your lore joining Watanabe Entertainment?
Yeah, man, I didn't know what I was doing. I just walked into Watanabe Entertainment, the building, because it said comedy in English, and I lived right next door. So I just walked in, and I was like, "Comedian ni naritai." They're like, "Yo, shoo, get out of here, gaijin." But no, for real, it was like, it's really like a secure building. You gotta have like an access pass to get in there, because there's real like famous people, I guess, in there. And they kind of took them by surprise when just a Mexican Ichiro rolls up into there, but.
So you only went in just because it was right next to you?
Dude, yeah, I didn't know about the agencies. I didn't know about Manza. I just knew I wanted to become a comedian, so I just walked into there, and they were like, you want to be a comedian? Like, it's called gaining in Japanese, but gaining, and gaining, no homo. But they were like, we have auditions next month for a comedy school. That's a thing in Japan. You gotta go to fucking comedy school. A Yoseijo is what it's called, but you gotta like train for a year plus.
That's so Japanese. Like,
And then
training a year before you can even get on stage.
you go on stage before that, but you're not a professional yet. 200 people were in my class, and a new class comes in every half year. And then after your year of comedy school or more, the company, Watanabe, decides if they want to sign you or not. So it's like essentially a 1.5 year long audition.
Are they paying you at all for that?
No.
So you're paying to go to the school?
I feel like it's kind of like college. If you're nice enough, like they give you a little scholarship, a little bit of side Japanese mozzarella. Yeah, I came in as a nobody, so I had to pay for comedy school. Yeah, it's whack. It's pretty whack. Dude, I had like a monthly installment of like Niman per month for like 2 or 3 years. Damn. Yeah, it took a little while to pay that
But that's
off.
like, because I don't know how it works in the US, but I just don't feel like there's that system.
No, there's not that system. I feel like it's the reverse from America, because you can still graduate without getting signed. And people write that on their resume as a comedian. Even if you don't get signed to Watanabe, you would write like, I graduated from the comedy school like this year from Watanabe, but you didn't get signed. So only that 200 from my class, maybe like 22 kids got signed.
The rest were just like, okay, we're not signing you, thank you,
Yeah.
goodbye.
They either gave up comedy or tried to go to a different agency. All right, so the comedy school, you have neta mise. Neta's your skit. You do what you think is funny in front of all these like Japanese guys that like they will not laugh. I feel like that comedy school is there to teach you how funny you actually aren't. Because the whole thing is like, everyone thinks they're funny, so they enter, right? And half of it is learning like, you're not as funny as you think you are. That
So
training,
they're trying to break you. This is like
Dude,
a drill sergeant.
like I remember the first time I sweat, like a different type of sweat, like not exercise sweat. This sweat was like 3 centigrade hotter, dude. It was like, you do what you think is the funniest thing you got right now. And you'll have the line of like old Japanese guys just like, dakara. Like, so what? Like, I'm like, dakara, like, And bro, when I first got into the television gigs, it's wild. I would go to some auditions, like depending on the TV company, but where some during the audition, I'm making the producers and directors and like the writers laugh, right? Yeah. I'm like, yo, I got this job in the bag, and then the results come out and I didn't get the job. And then I'll go to some other auditions where there'll be like an old like line of 3 Japanese dudes in the bag just like smoking cigarettes. Like,
Who are these guys?
I'm sitting there doing that like, kone, got the shoe. And they're just like, and then when the results came out, I got the job. So you never know, dude. I was like, God damn, you like that shit?
But you were doing this for years, like 8 years, you said, I think, to me, off camera.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about why you quit, but we're going to take a quick break and go in here, get a coffee, and then come back out.
You're gonna hit him with the cliffhanger, why I'm a quitter?
Why?
Thanks, Max.
Why? All right.
Oh, look! It's so hot!
Whoa! Jeez!
Damn!
Are you okay?
Jesus!
Well, thanks for testing it for me.
Oh man! I'm sorry, you're probably definitely not getting sponsored now.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty. We have to continue our conversation of
right,
why you quit Watanabe Entertainment, why you left the Japanese big industry to do your own thing. Because you have a podcast now, obviously you're still doing stand-up. What led to you going from this big company to wanting to go independent?
In a nutshell, social media, SNS changed the game, and Watanabe, I'm not, with a grain of salt, a grain of rice, because we're in Japan, ran really old school, like hierarchy, kind of like the Japanese business style where social media doesn't exist. They don't understand the power and the reach that it has yet. They're so tied in, their connections and everything through television and those type of sponsors that back in the day you needed to be in a big agency like Yoshimoto Watanabe to become a comedian. That was the only route. It turned into like, I realized I don't necessarily need them, and any work I was gathering myself through my connections, they take 50% right off jump without even doing any work. And so if I get this work where it's gonna be on social media and like Watanabe looks at a lot, so I'm like, if they bust me, like then it's a pain in the ass. So I'll tell them, like, hey, I've got this work, and they're like, okay, cool. And then right as they get my paycheck, they take half. And that's when I had my last straw recently was, I realized when I was in the meeting with all the managers and shit, like asking not to get paid more, but asking them not to take my money was like, what am I doing? Like, and the contract I signed was when I entered from comedy school as a nobody. And looking into that contract, it is nuts. They owned everything. They owned all my media, like all those videos that I make, all that was theirs. I had to fight to leave and keep that. And they usually don't let you do that. I kind of pulled like an American card where I was like, yo, you're gonna be hearing from my lawyers from New York. They fell for it, and so I escaped, essentially. There's two things they fear and respect. Americans and Godzilla.
It's one or the other.
But dude, so the Japanese comedy game inside of Watanabe, you're expected to drop everything if you're like working or something and help them with anything. If there's a show and you're like an underling, like still young in the game, they force you to just like help out the senpai's shows for free. It was funny because like my kohai is like this kid from Nigeria, I think. Or he's somewhere in Africa, so he's black. Born and raised in Japan, but blood is, you know, like somewhere in Africa. Right. And they got this black kid working for free, and I was like, damn.
Wait a minute.
That's not a good look, Japan. Where I'm from, this looks really bad, dude. And I mean, because when he looks Japanese, you know, they get away with it, but then a black kid starts working for free. I was like, shit.
You're like,
That's a little sketchy there.
Hey, we're about to hit this conbini. I know you wanted to show me your favorite drink.
No, man, I wanted to say thank you, Brooklyn Roasting Company, for this delicious coffee. Since you bought me a coffee, I wanted to get you one of my favorite coffees. Yeah, it's funny, like a lot of the auditions I'll go to, a lot of the jokes I'll do is being an American, like in their comedy world, like from an outside perspective, right?
Like this one.
Oh yeah, like pulling out a gun on set is something they're not used to. And I did not tell them I was gonna do that. I just had it like in my back pocket. Yo, you should have seen the shock on everyone's face. And my aikata, the girl, Yuki, that's my comedy partner, she didn't know I was gonna pull it out either, so you could kind of see that reaction's real too.
Oh, she didn't know
She didn't know I was gonna pull out a gun either. She's like, what the f? But the whole thing that was nuts is, I'll go to these auditions, I'll have Japanese people tell me how to be more American. I'm like, you're teaching me how to like, yeah, cause like, oh, that movement isn't like over the top enough, cause you Americans are like loud and, you know, over the top, right? So they want me to do more stereotypical American things through their Japanese lens.
What's like a really stereotypical American thing?
Well, dude, it would be like, I would have to come to my show riding a Harley. They wanted me to be like,
They want you to lean in more to the American side, even though you are mixed Japanese, right? Did you ever feel that in a sense that it's like they're forgetting that you're Japanese too?
Well, if I don't lean into my American side, it's like having a weapon and not using the weapon. It would be almost wasteful of me not to use my Americanness out here. And the other thing is, yo, Japan's, I mean, as you know, like it's a little island, right? They're not used to foreigners, like, and so there's like that black comedian I was talking about, my kohai, right? They're both brothers, they're called Donkoko, check them out, shout out to them, but they're born and raised Japan. They are 100% Japanese, right? They treat them like foreigners, the television people. Right. But I'm like, yo, he's born and raised in Japan. And so there's times where they make them do like gaijin like jokes, but it's like, yo, they've never been out of the country, like, so it's all kind of like fake. They want to ignore the Japanese side. Yeah. Is how I feel all the time.
Like you said, using your Americanness as a weapon for comedy.
Yeah.
It's not even just for comedy. I feel like people who come here, it's good to assimilate in a sense and like learn about the culture in Japan, but it's also okay to, like, I've definitely met some people that lean a little bit, it almost feels like too heavy into like trying to be Japanese. Yeah. But like you can still like own both sides.
Cause that shit can be too cringe too when you're a foreigner coming to Japan and just two foreigners like trying to out Japanese each other.
I've seen that.
Right, and you're just like, bro, it's okay to like, they just try to flex it like in your face a little too hard.
You're gonna get a
I'm gonna show you my favorite coffee in Tokyo.
Let's do movie magic. We're
what's
gonna
movie
like,
magic?
It's like we're gonna like snap our fingers and then you just
Oh,
pop back
okay.
out.
It sounded like a AV doga kind of thing.
All right, we're just gonna snap it then.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, you have a magical bag now.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Step one, we gotta find a kind of dirty little corridor, or like a dirty alley.
Yeah.
So first you get the ice box. Any type of coffee, a little bit of that. Japanese espresso cocktail, to be honest. All the street homies in Japan know about this little one. You always get the right cap. So boom, a little bit of that. The Japanese espresso. In some other circles, people call this the skate drink. Let me give it a shot. Have a sip of that.
Why is this good?
Don't fuck with me, right? What did I tell you?
So I want to wrap up the podcast, but we gotta get the next location. We're running out of time, so we actually just like have to book it. But we gotta book it the last place. Yeah.
Like running?
Let's go.
Ouch!
All right, so we're at the final location. Now I wanted to wrap up with, why, we kind of got a little bit of information on why you left the traditional route. There's still benefits, I guess, with the old style, right?
Yo, if you're a comedian in Japan and you have no experience in the old traditional way, your street cred plummets. Dude, having that experience in a big agency in Japan does wonders for you, even after I left. Having that experience is a great thing. Being in that Japanese system of how it works to be a comedian, to make it, was some of the best experiences I've ever had. I didn't leave because it was terrible or wrong. I left because, as for my career, if I wanted to only make it in Japan as a Japanese comedian just for Japanese people, I think I would have stayed. I think my whole field is, I want to make foreigners laugh, Americans, like English speakers, and Japanese people. I want to, nitoryu. I want that two-sword action. You know what I'm saying?
What about santoryu?
I don't know Chinese yet, but
it's a One Piece reference, by the way.
Yeah, I Zoro, baby. I already know, man.
Let's walk in here, by the way.
Is it warmer? Because, goddamn.
I don't think it's going to be warmer. You should come here if you visit Shimokitazawa. It's very nice.
Oh, yeah? What's this place called?
I just said I have no idea.
Oh, really?
I actually have no idea. It's on the north side of the station.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It's kind of like Western, right?
Yeah, if I was taking a girl out on a date,
you would.
I was hoping it ends in a little, you know what I'm saying? I'd definitely bring her here. So those Japanese comedians that are, on Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent.
Don't worry, I'm wearing pants!
Like even Watanabe was asking me how to appeal more for the Western audience, which they ignored all the comments I made anyways. But
they were trying to reach an international audience too.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the reasons why I left too, is everything I was saying, they were just kind of brushed aside and they were doing what they were already doing anyways. But the thing I'm kind of split about Japanese comedians going on Britain's Got Talent and all that, it's really cool. It's impressive. But at the same time, it's frustrating because through the Western perspective, that's what Japanese comedy is. It's a little weird because Japanese people can't speak English at a high enough level to do the real Japanese comedy, like manzai, or it's actually at such a high level of the wittiness and the writing, but they can't speak English, so they can't translate it to perform that for a Western audience, globally. So they have to really dumb it down and do only those type of jokes and skits that you see on Britain's Got Talent. Like the guy who, it looks like he's naked. Have you seen that one?
People love that though.
Yeah, so it's silly, right? And he does that same thing in Japan, but it's just one killer phrase. Yeah. It's anshin shite kudasai, haitemasu. What do you know what it is in English?
It's like, don't worry, I'm wearing.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm wearing. But that's the only English that he needs, right? So it's these weird kind of off, when that is really just a sliver of the real Japanese comedy, and it's so much deeper and better, but that's the only thing that could go globally because of the lack of English. You know, that's why it's love and hate for me to see Japanese comedians. The ones that do make it on a global level that Americans know are the weird ones, like pineapple, apple pen, like,
Yeah.
Pineapple, apple pen.
like apple pen, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's weird. The tea, like the
tea guy, yeah.
But they really do like really smart konto, like sketch comedy. A lot of Japanese people ask me like how to learn English, and I've always said it, because this is how I learned Japanese is, dude, literally study comedy. Like, watch that country's comedy, because it has everything. It has the culture. If you can't understand why this is funny, even if you don't think it's funny, but you can't explain why it's funny, then you don't know the culture yet. Yeah, last thing, that's how I learned Japanese. I had a crash course where I learned all of my Japanese at Watanabe Comedy School. A lot of Japanese comedy is team play. I think that's one of the big differences between Japanese and American comedy is Japanese comedians are really good at working together to get a laugh. All those variety bangumis that you see on television in Japan, all of them are working together for this one laugh. And if you step on each other's jokes, you won't be on television anymore. So if you ruin a setup, but like American comedians, I feel like just sort of like, that's why you don't, I mean, now on YouTube, like Kill Tony, like you'll see these where comedians get together and help each other out and get the laugh. But before, it's like all those talk shows, you get one comedian.
Yeah.
Where in Japan, every time you switch on, you see like 10 comedians together. It's because they know how to work together.
That's true. It's always like 10 comedians in the Japanese like variety shows. Do you think, are they being influenced by Japanese comedy? Is that a possibility, or is it more just like they're like, hey, when we get together, it's really funny. Let's try to bring this to the stage.
Yeah, I think that. I think Japan is just ahead of the game for team comedy on the fly. Because you're taught that in comedy school. I'm always told to joke the third joke. Because Japanese people will joke, and if I go first, I kill it for everyone after me. I have to look after the other comedians where, like the order of, if we're talking about like how to order coffee here, and the comedians will do their jokes. If I'm like the third one, it's about you gotta watch comedy like the third eye as a viewer, not like you being inside of it and just like, as long as I'm funny, it's okay. It's like, nah, if you're stepping on other comedians' jokes or like, this guy doesn't know the order of how to make everyone funny, you won't be called back.
So what's next for Daniel Wilson in Tokyo?
Adult videos.
Johnny Sins. You'll be Johnny Tsumi.
Yeah, Johnny Tsumi. Yeah, but seriously, I think, in all realness, just kind of doing what I have been doing is separating my work for foreigners and Japanese people. Because one of my end goals was to make Japanese people and Westerners or Americans, whatever, English speakers, laugh at the same material. And that end goal, I think I was doing too early. And when I separated them completely, I ignore one side when I do material and I ignore the other side when I do material for like this side. That's when my stuff kind of really took off. So I think just keep doing that. You got a few like gray hairs over here.
Dude, don't look at that. Don't look at that. It's a little gray is good, right, for guys?
Yo, the salt and pepper George Clooney thing. I think Japanese babes like that.
People do say like J babes or J girls.
I call them J babes.
People say like J's, the J's.
And I recently found this type where I like going to Shinokubo, K-Town.
Yeah, Koreatown.
I like the J babes that act like K babes.
This is such a specific like type you can only find in Shinokubo.
Yeah.
Is that how we're gonna end the podcast today?
Well, yeah. Come check out my stand-up. Come check out my manzai. Check out the podcast.
Dude, thanks Daniel for being on this first episode of the Live in Tokyo Unplugged series. Thank you guys. Check them out. Arigatou gozaimasu.